Hi guys and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 24. We're in the circuit of Barcelona for the Catalan GP, and we're going to be racing with the newly announced retiree Aleix Espargaro. Ladies and gentlemen, let's crack on with hopefully a cracking race. So here we go then, starting in second place, the same spot where Aleix Espargaro started last season and finished out on top as we get an absolutely dreadful launch off the line there. If Aleix Espargaro does that this weekend, he will be seething. That was a shocking start, and in fact, we're under investigation there for messing up the start and causing a bump from the riders behind. Look at Frankie Morbidelli getting over the inside there. He's up into the top 12 positions as we now try and fight our way through on the pack to get back up to where we were, and I actually got given a warning for that collision with the riders who bumped me from behind. That's not really our fault that we span up the rear and made an absolute meal of the first point of this Catalan circuit. That's completely on me, but I didn't think that warranted a penalty, but it is what it is. So around the outside of Marquez, I think that's not going to work, but certainly a decent effort. In fact, it has actually come out, and we've come out on top. Look at that, Aleix Espargaro around the outside of Marquez. That's probably in people's nightmares, especially for the fan base of the 93. But anyway, we are in a decent position actually, considering how bad that start was. I lost a lot of time to Bastianini, who's leading this race, so we're going to have to try and bounce back quickly to catch up to the factory Ducati. I know it's quite common in MotoGP 24, especially on the 120% difficulty, that the AI can pull away once they get to that position where they feel comfortable in first place. So with the factory Ducati 1-2, and in fact it's a full Italian top 5 manufacturer-wise. Bastianini, Bagnaia on the Ducati, Maverick and Aleix on this on the Aprilias, and of course Marc Marquez with the Ducati GP23 right behind us as well. So as we bring on the power now to get across the line, we try and squeeze around the outside of a Maverick Vinales. Interesting line to go that way around, but I think it worked out for the best as we do run it deep into the 11th corner. We're going to struggle to keep on the track limits, and unfortunately all that work that's just been done has come undone, and we've got to do it again. So back to the drawing board to attack Maverick Vinales. Now, I took a bit of a gamble in this one because I really love this circuit and I feel very comfortable, but when I tried a very quick few laps, I tried the medium rear and I was not impressed. The medium rear, very much like it was in MotoGP 23, just doesn't offer me good grip. So I'm taking a chance, taking a gamble. Oh my god, was that oh my goodness, did you see how close that was? Maverick Vinales crashed. He was inches away from our rear tyre there. Oh my goodness, that was ridiculously close. Did you see how close that was? Oh wow, that was fortunate. We were extremely lucky not to get taken out from our teammate on the Aprilia RSGP. Oh wow, okay, we'll take a lap to calm down then, because that certainly caught me off guard. But yeah, as I was saying, we are choosing the soft option rear tyre here today. I think the Michelin rubber, when it's softer, is just a much better combination for everyone, let's be honest, but I'm able to usually keep it going even towards the end of the race, so we'll see how good my tyre conservation is for this Grand Prix of Barcelona as we now get across the line. Yeah, we're not going to set fastest lap times just yet. I do need to get into that rhythm and stop making mistakes. Of course, we made a mistake at this very corner the lap ago. Still a little bit deep, but it's not too bad as we now close back on Pecco Bagnaia. The AI do tend to struggle a bit going into turn 2. And we have closed in somewhat to the rear tyre of the GP24 of Pecco Bagnaia. Now, before we really get into the nitty-gritty of this race, we do want to talk a bit about MotoGP and, of course, its modern situation with the race predictions of this weekend in Catalan, and of course also as well just a few other things to discuss. But before we go into that, I would like to get through on Pecco because there's a lot of concentration required to beat someone of his calibre, and we're now through a bit of an aggressive move actually to sort of muscling our way through on the double MotoGP World Champion, but it's done, and that means we can now spend our time chipping away at the advantage that the Beast has ahead of us. But before we continue, quick shout out to James Asterbury, big fan of the channel. Thank you very much for all your support, James. You're frequently commenting and frequently getting involved with everything I pretty much do. So I just want to say a big thank you to you, and I hope you can continue and I can continue our partnership of generating interesting comments in our fantastic comments section, of course, as well. Shout out to everyone else who watches my videos too, and a special shout out for the channel members. You'll see your name come up at the end of the video. But yeah, quick little moment to say big thank you to the Aces, because you guys are the most important part of the channel. So as we got across the line there, we got a 138.1. I thought that'd be good enough for the fastest lap, which it was, but only temporary, because Marco Bezzecchi, now the fastest man on track, with a 137.953. Are we going to see the man on board the GP23 up there fighting in the top 3 positions? As a Bezzecchi fan, I would certainly say I hope so, but we'll see what happens in the virtual form. In fact, that's a very interesting top 8 as it stands, with Bastianini leading, myself using Aleix Espargaro in second, Bagnaia third, Marc Marquez fourth, Bezzecchi, Pedro Acosta, Martin, and then Jack Miller in 8th place. And this puts me in a good spot to start discussing the actual Grand Prix of Catalunya, which is going to happen this weekend. And you know what? The guy in 7th, the man on a mission, Jorge Martin, it's hard to bet against him, isn't it? The momentum is truly on the side of the former Moto3 world champion. I definitely suspect Jorge Martin to be winning this weekend in Catalunya. I almost chose him for this video, but of course with the announcement of Aleix Espargaro retiring, it had to be Aleix Espargaro. And in fact, I've not really used the Aprilia that much, so it was a nice opportunity to use the Aprilia, and I must confess it feels absolutely brilliant. Felt great in MotoGP 23, and it also does here in GP24 as well. But we did set the fast lap briefly on the last lap. We get across the line, and we're still not able to better the lap time set from Bez, but we are able to improve, so that's a good sign. And that's 3 laps in a row where we have improved, and we're starting to make less and less mistakes as this Grand Prix of Catalunya continues here in Montmello. So, ooh. Yellow flags out in Sector 1. Someone's gone down there into the first corner. You can see them actually just off the circuit. It looks like Digia went down, and so did Brad Binder. So Brad Binder having a torrid time at the moment. In real life, it's not going all so peachy for the Safa, but also in this game, it hasn't gone too well for Brad Binder. Let's hope he can bounce back in both aspects of virtual and real life racing. But as we dive into the left-hand side, this is my favourite corner on the Catalunya circuit. Love the TV3. It's just immensely satisfying to get right. Once you nail it, it just feels unbelievable. So I don't think many corners really reach that same of pride for me when diving into a corner, especially making an overtake. If you go round the outside from there, you're an absolute pro. Esports will be calling you, I can guarantee. But let's have a quick brief discussion about the predictions for this weekend. I do strongly feel that Aleix Espargaro will be up there. Of course, his home circuit, Catalunya, victorious last season. Of course, we had the debacle from a few years ago where he misread the laps, etc. And I think a lot of people think about that too much when they think of Aleix Espargaro. So I'm putting that to the back of my mind and focusing on nothing but his talent and skill here in this circuit. I'm not going to say he's a track specialist. I think it's a little bit insulting, and I think it's, you know, it's one of those stereotypical comments to make about any rider that does well at a certain track. I think it's one of those words that you use flippantly. You know, track specialist seems good in one sense, but also seems a bit ignorant to just say that. So I'm going to avoid that phrase, but I would probably look at it for the likes of Argentina, where you might have to think that without it being on the circuit this year, it could have definitely influenced his decision for retiring. Now, I believe Aleix Espargaro's decision mostly comes from the fact that Pol Espargaro is no longer a full-time rider in MotoGP. Of course, Pol had a horrific crash in Portimao last season, which of course sidelined him for a lot of time in last year's campaign. So I understand and can appreciate where Aleix Espargaro is coming from, but let's be honest, I think Espargaro's in the best point of his career. Winning races, podium finishes, even leading the MotoGP World Championship is not something that many people can say they have achieved. And not many people can say they've won on board the Aprilia in modern day MotoGP. Just 2 people, Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Vinales. So yeah, it's one of those things that I wouldn't probably want to retire when I'm on top. But at the same time, I completely appreciate and understand why Aleix has made his decision. So I imagine he'll still stick around with Aprilia. I would probably surmise a test rider role, maybe a rider coach. I think he'll definitely have a presence still within MotoGP. Very much the same as Paul Espargaro. He's with DAZN, isn't he? He's still very much in the remits of MotoGP, just not a full-time rider. And of course, as well, for Paul, he is Red Bull KTM's factory test ride as well, alongside Danny Pedrosa and I do believe Mika Kallio if he's still there. But anyway, we digress about Aleix for now. I do want to see what Bagnaia is going to do. I'm really keen to see what Marc Marquez is going to do. Of course, Catalunya, great circuit for Marquez, but actually not one of his best track results. Compare it to the other circuits, and Catalunya is actually not one of his most successful tracks, and it's kind of surprising because, of course, Marquez and his brother around these parts of Montmello, of Barcelona, and it's very much his home track. Of course, you know what he's like with the helmets and the special events here for Catalunya, so you do suspect a very strong Marc Marquez, but you don't always get a strong Marquez here. Well, I strongly feel that this is going to be a weekend to remember for the number 93. I think he's either going to just do something incredible or the total opposite. And I, for one, are certainly hoping it's of the former and not the latter. I suspect that Marquez will come out swinging here in Catalunya to give this Spanish crowd exactly what they're looking for. Because, I mean, I don't think anyone in MotoGP has got the fan base like Marc Marquez right now. I think everybody wants Marc Marquez to win on the GP23 Ducati. And if it's going to happen anywhere, you would look at certain tracks like Sachsenring, of course you would. But if it's going to happen in a special place, it would be here this weekend. But we'll see how he gets on. Really keen to see as well Pecco Bagnaia, see how he's going to respond after finishing the runners-up in Le Mans last time out. I think still very much a very clever rider is Pecco, and I think what I like about Pecco is he's very even-keeled, and I think you've got to be even-keeled if you're a great MotoGP World Champion. Marc Marquez was a prime example of this on the Honda days. If there was difficulties, he would make sure he finished in the points high enough to get some good results. But he wouldn't be too down, and he wouldn't be too elated or too positive. Of course, he was very positive, excited, and jovial, but not either or too much. Very much a balanced personality, and I think you've got to do the same if you like Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin. We've seen Jorge Martin in the past make a couple of mistakes, and people have accused him of being not so mature when it comes to understanding the seriousness of being in the contention for a MotoGP World Champion. So I would imagine keeping up that trend of not... God, went too wide there for Lakaisha. Just closing in there as well on Bastianini. I've lost time just trying to catch up to the beast. But yeah, I definitely suspect Marquez to do very well this weekend. Of course, Pecco Bagnaia, as I mentioned, I do think he's going to come out and have a very solid weekend. I couldn't put my finger on it to say win or podium. Probably a podium. You can't really get best. You can't really bet against Pecco Bagnaia. So yeah, it's going to be a podium, but I just don't know what position. The other part I'm looking at as well is another rider who's not really got a great record around Catalunya is Pedro Acosta. And I think the KTMs in the past have gone very well here. Binder's had some very solid performances. Jack Miller, of course, when he was with the Ducati, had some good results here too. But more so, Miguel Oliveira on the KTM a couple of years ago was rapid round here. Brad Binder's fast, and Brad Binder needs to turn his season round. Does work well here at this circuit. I don't doubt the abilities of the KTMs this weekend. I've got a good feeling that they're going to get back to where they should be. Pedro Acosta, of course, crashing out for the first time in Le Mans. You know for a fact he's going to be absolutely gunning for it now to prove that he is still the best rookie you've ever seen ever in the world. I'm sure he's still going to really surprise this weekend and have another cracking result. But there's something about the KTMs this weekend, the Aprilias, that are screaming more to me than the Ducatis. It happens every now and again. I'm very much a gut instinct guy. That's why I like to do these when the race weekends come up, as just a fun prediction, just for you guys and me to chat about MotoGP, try and foresee the future and just see what happens. So I'm really positive and very excited for this weekend. And of course, World Superbike set us up with a beautiful entree this season, with Top Rank overtaking Bautista into the final corner. Solid race where Bautista caught up to Buliga. Andre Iannone leading a race in World Superbike. Sam Lowes was leading a race. Everything was kicking off in Catalunya, and it was the beautiful entree that is setting us up to the main course of MotoGP, with a nice slice of Moto3 and Moto2 and a bit of Moto E in there as well. It is going to be the first 3-course meal of the season, which I think is going to be absolutely delectable. Almost as delectable as that overtake I was about to send on Enea Bastianini, but it just didn't materialise yet. I do feel we can get through soon though. Maybe I'm a bit wide there for turn 4, so I'm not going to be able to get through, but we've just been very slowly and casually chipping away at the lead of Enea Bastianini. I'm not quite up to speed yet with the Premier Class motorcycles. I've been doing the guide videos, and I've been doing the odd few races by myself every now and again, but of course the majority of my time at the moment is spent doing the Moto3 career mode. So with that in mind, jumping onto these Premier Class beasts does catch you off guard a little bit, especially on the acceleration front, because you're so used to just going full throttle with the Moto3 machines. It's when you do jump over to a bike like this, you realise you've got to be a bit more calm, a bit more collected, a bit more easy on the throttle and a bit more just relaxed. So I'm getting that feel, and I think every single lap we do is evidence of how comfortable we're getting with the Aprilia RSGP right now. And of course, with Aleix Espargaro being his home circuit, it needs to be a special video, this one, so I'm going to try and catch up to the beast and deliver a result never to be forgotten. Let's hope we can stick with that promise. I've just lost a bit of time to the beast. We're down by 7/10 of a second. In fact, Bastianini's probably the rider I've not really mentioned. And I think we've cut the corner there. My mistake. Just a little bit of a cheeky track limit warning coming in there into the 11th corner. My mistake. Hands up from me. Metaphorical slap on the wrist. But speaking of I just done a second track limit warning. In fact, that's my third. I have to be really careful now for the rest of this Grand Prix. Don't want to get a long lap penalty here. In MotoGP 23, the long lap penalty loop was bloody awful. So I hope I don't make that mistake here and have to run it in Catalunya. But yeah, just touch base upon Enea Bastianini there. And honestly, I kind of feel sorry for the beast, because it's a bit insulting the fact that Gigi Dall'Igna and Ducati are all talking about who's going to be the rider for next season, and hardly anyone is even considering Enea Bastianini still for that spot. And it's annoying, because the bloke got injured last season in Portimao and had quite a horrific injury. Took him a while to bounce back and get used to the bike. Of course, Catalunya last season for the beast was not a good time, as he took out himself, Zarco, Bezzecchi, and I think both of the Gresini Ducati, so at that time it would have been Alex Marquez and Fabio Di Gianantonio. So it was just an absolute horror show for Enea. And of course then the horrific crash from Pecco Bagnaia. So not a great hunting ground for Ducati last season. But regarding Enea, I think it's really interesting now, because if you already know that your team is looking elsewhere, you probably already know that your writing's on the wall. So as far as I'm concerned for Enea, I would have still kept him in the team. I don't see why Ducati are just binning him off. I think it's unfair. But I like the prospect now of Enea Bastianini going, okay, well, this Italian manufacturer's not working for me. Oh, goodness me, we're really closing in rapidly here on Enea Bastianini. I'm going to have to make a lunge here. I've had to squeeze my way through into the right-hander for turn 4. I was unintentional, actually. I was just trying to follow him a little bit longer, but hey, we made it through. We've made it stick. The crowd are on their feet. The Spaniards are seeing Aleix Espargaro lead the way here in Barcelona. Big thumbs up from the crowd, and thumbs up if you're enjoying the video. Don't forget to hit that like button. Also subscribe as well, just help out the channel. And of course, if you've enjoyed 12 laps of my dulcet tones, I'm sure you can endure a lot more. So why not get subscribed? But yeah, let's quickly brief back onto the subject of the beast, Enea Bastianini. If Ducati are already talking about others joining the seat, I'm quite stubborn, so I'd be thinking, well, forget it then. I'd rather go elsewhere. So you can take Jorge Martin or you can take Marc Marquez. I'll join a rival, another Italian brand. I'll go to Aprilia and I'll kick your ass that way. And I'll get my revenge from that side. And we saw how good Enea Bastianini was on the Gresini Ducati. Won multiple races as the lower spec Ducati, of course very much similar to what Marc Marquez is doing this year. But Bastianini had victories, had more podiums, and was just very much in the contention for the championship all season long when nobody picked him to do it. Can you imagine what it'd be like if he goes to Aprilia and people say, yeah, he'll take a time, you know, he'll get used to it, and he does the same again but with the Aprilia? That could be the biggest story in MotoGP for a while. And I wanted to keep Enea on the Ducati at first. Now my thought process was they're being unfair, they should just keep him. There's great camaraderie and compatriotism between Bastianini and Bagnaia. Why not just keep it as it is? If it's not broken, don't fix it. But now, the prospect of him going to Aprilia is just opening my eyes up. Aleix Espargaro retiring is the start of the silly season. Next year is going to be mental for the terms of riders swapping teams, team swapping bikes, and probably bike swapping manufacturers and different parts and components as well. Of course, Honda will probably have a full revamp, and there's even talks of the Yamaha as well. Nothing too major. I know everybody wants Yamaha to change engines, but that's not going to happen. They are still sticking with their ways, and I don't blame them. Why not? It worked in the past, and I'm sure it'll work again, and that's not worked. Bezzecchi's gone down. I think he's crashed into Lacaisha. That's a hot spot for crashing and overtakes, isn't it? One of the best corners here in the circuit, one of the best corners in MotoGP, but unfortunately, he's gone down and will not be featuring for a top 5, so that's a damn shame. But I very much strongly believe that Aleix Espargaro retiring is going to open up the doors for a lot of interesting things now. I think it's a given that Jorge Martin will be alongside Pecco Bagnaia next season now. I've changed my mind. I don't think they're going to even consider keeping Enea Bastianini. Watched the press conference and, well, it didn't seem positive for Enea. I mean, they weren't even considering, they weren't talking about Enea being, oh, I'm just downshifted to first gear! Oh, no! Oh, that's easy done! Just chatting away, downshifted to first gear, and I've got to do all that work again. Oh, I've not done that mistake in ages. The last time I probably downshifted to first gear prematurely, or by accident, would have been the Assen video, when in fact I was on board the Aprilia then, with Miguel Oliveira on the Cryptodata RNF Aprilia. Oh, you muppet, look at that, I'm 2 seconds behind now. We were leading comfortably. And that sometimes is the worst thing you can do. Pushing all race, having the concentration at the highest, getting through, and then being able to just to saunter and relax a bit. That's when the mistakes come in, and I've just done it here. 3 seconds we're losing on this lap. That sucks. That is tough. And now I've just abused the track limits going into the right hand side for the Campsa corner. Oh, that's not good. Well, there's my podium. Well, there's my first place. So that was the victory gone. Kind of fitting for Aleix. I mean, I know I mentioned it earlier and I said I wouldn't mention it. But yeah, Aleix miscalculated the laps. I miscalculated the gears with Aleix. It happens. Life goes on. But that's a damn shame. That is a damn shame. I'm annoyed at myself for that. I've got a 2-second disadvantage now to catch up to the beast. After all those laps spent chasing him down, I've gone and flummoxed it, and now we've got all this work again. Well, it certainly makes the video interesting, if nothing more. So that's a positive. I don't even know where we were up to now in our conversation. There's so much to discuss. Let me know in the comment section what you feel is going to happen now that the first domino has fallen in MotoGP's 2025 season. Aleix Espargaro retiring means that there is a vacant seat on quite possibly one of the best motorcycles in modern day MotoGP. You look at the Ducati, of course, it's by far head and shoulders, but the aerodynamic package of the Aprilia has frequently been touted as the best package in MotoGP. Who is going to be on that motorcycle? Could we see a shock or just a plain old, I thought it would be something predictable. My bet would be that Aleix Bastianini comes onto this bike and does a cracking job. Instantly, that's what my feeling is from today's video here today. Let me know what you think, and I'm going to now try and catch back up to Aleix Bastianini because I made a mess of that lap. Managed to actually get back into the high 137s there, so we might be able to close back in, but come on, it's going to be 2 seconds to catch within 3 laps. That is a silly error. I'm surprised we didn't crash, you know. Going into turn 4, gravel is really thick there in real life as well, so I'm surprised we were able to stay on board the RSGP. We are closing in, and we've actually taken half a second away from Bastianini. Maybe this is not over yet. Or maybe I'm just trying to get too excited for nothing. 1.4 is the gap. Let's reassess as we get to the third split. The third split approaches around the Caixa corner, which is turn 10. So we'll gauge it when we get there, but for now, that's a little bit deep for the TV3. Lost about 1/10 of a second there, no doubt. Big wheelie coming out of that right-hander as well there. This is the Campsa corner as we get onto the power. Bring on it. Oh, try and keep the front wheel down. The wheelie still prominent, but not as prominent as it was on the Taka Nakagami video we did a couple of days ago. That was in Aragon, one of my favourite videos this year, actually. I've really enjoyed that one. It was a lot of fun. A lot of crashes and chaos as well. Got into the bank Sabadell. Bring on the power. Keep it in tight to the apex. Use a bit of brake. Just running across the curb. And then back into the right-hand side for the New Holland final corner. Onto the power. This is the start of lap 17, and the gap is 1.5. Yeah, it's probably gone now. And I'm a bit cautious now because we got that track limit warning into the Europa car, didn't we? So we've got to be careful here. It's so easy just to touch the apex or... Oh, I almost did it then, actually, as a matter of fact. Just really close to the apex of the Elf corner. If I went onto the green there, that would have been instant long lap penalty territory. 1/10 of a second found already into the first split. Lap times are very consistent at 1:37s now for the past 2 laps. I think if there's anything else to discuss about MotoGP, it's going to have to wait. I'll talk to you either in the Discord server, direct messenger, or even, alternatively, the YouTube comment section. We'll chat about it later. But for now, 1 second is the difference to Aleix Bastianini. That's a good entrance into the TV3. Careful of the wheelie going into the Worth corner. What could be worth than messing that up? That's terrible. Anyway, onto the power. Can we get the slipstream? If I can just steal a bit of slipstream going into turn 1, we might be close enough to make a stupid lunge at some point. 0.3 of a second we found on this sector. Still absolutely a chance of closing in here. I'm glad we're not giving up. We're not taking this lightly. Aleix Espargaro, 1 small error could have cost us, well, it has cost us a victory, but it could have cost us so much worse. Into the right hand side, we're going to then again set the new fastest lap of the race. In fact, didn't realise that Jorge Martin was once the fastest man. Now it's back us again, 1:37.555. Onto the brakes into turn 1. This is the final time of hitting the brakes that aggressively into the first corner. Quick shift into the left hand side, and Aleix Bastianini's got a track limit warning. He's losing time here. Gap's down to half a second. We've pulled half a second already. It's still game on. Come on. We've got to catch him. It's going to be damn near impossible, but I'm absolutely going for it. 0.4 of a second, 0.5. Just keep it within half a second, just so I've got a slipstream. Whoa. A little bit careful there, actually going into the Repsol corner. That has cost us time. Oh, wheelie there, got caught up on the wheelie as we now jump into the left-hand side, and that's the worst thing that possibly could have happened. It's a track limit warning. It's a long lap penalty. Oh, you muppet. I can't believe I've done that. The front wheel lifted and I stood no chance of keeping it in. And now I lay on the brakes. I'm not going to get that stopped. No way I'm going to get that stopped. Ah! Unbelievable. What an effort. What a race. And we're actually still very much on the rear tail unit of Aleix Bastianini. Keep it in tight. We're not close enough. One more lap and we would have caught him. I mean, we would have had to take the penalty anyway, but goodness me. This was brilliant. The gap to Pecco is 2.7, so I'm going to finish in third, I think. A bloody good effort. A really good effort, that, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. So there you are then, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video. I certainly hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know in the comments section down below, and I'll chat to you either Sunday or Monday or whenever to chat about the race results in Catalunya this weekend in MotoGP. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video tomorrow. Ciao for now. Oh, hi. Didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.